What's going on YouTube? So today we're with the latest version of Honda's most affordable crossover, the 2025 HR-V. And we want to know, should you buy this HR-V and save thousands over the CR-V? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, the first place we're going to start out with is under our hood for our spec dump. So the HR-V continues with one engine choice. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, making 158 horsepower. That's going to be paired to a continuously variable transmission, and our combined fuel economy for this all-wheel drive example is 27 mpg. Now, there's a lot of other things that we will be talking about in the test drive, as well as getting things like our signature sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. Additionally, after that, we'll be talking about resale value and reliability, which is a new element we're adding to our reviews. But before we get into any of that stuff, we're going to close up the hood so we can take a look at the exterior as well as the interior. So getting into the exterior design, we're not going to see any changes for 2025. That means up here in the front, you'll continue to find a couple different looks. So this is the sport trim level. This is the one I think most people are going for. And it does have some unique characteristics, such as the texture inside of the grille. You're gonna have this interesting wave pattern that runs through here. The grille itself is gonna be finished in a matte plastic. If you get the EXL, they're gonna change this stuff out for a shiny plastic instead. Now, one of the things though that I think is a highlight of the exterior are our lights. So we have full LED headlights standard on all versions of the HR-V, and we even have LED turn signals and daytime running lights. So every single element here is fully LED. And as we move around to the rear, it's kind of eggish shape does continue for 2025.
Yeah, and you have some really premium elements, especially for a vehicle in this segment. So Drew's hopping inside to show off one of those premium elements, and that's your taillight cluster. Here on the HR-V, you're gonna have a standard full LED taillight. So as you can see, we have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and LED amber turn signal indicator. So I'm very happy to see that. That's pretty very uncommon in this segment, and it's something that even the CR-V can't say. Now, as we drop down to this lower area, we are going to have a lot of rugged matte black plastic. We also have a silver accent since we have the sport model and an exposed exhaust outlet.
Now, as far as our wheels are concerned, you do have 3 different options ranging from 17 to 18-inch alloys. This Sport has the largest wheel in the lineup. This is the 18-inch gloss black alloy. Just be aware if you're cross-shopping against, say, a CR-V, you can get bigger wheels with the CR-V. You can go all the way up to 19-inch alloys. Now you've got a little bit of plastic trim there around the wheel arches. Gloss black finish as well on the mirrors for the Sport trim level. And Sport is also where you're going to add heating and blind spot monitoring to the mirrors.
Now here at the side of the HR-V, we come in at an overall vehicle length of 179.8 inches. So really, if you're keeping track, that's only about 5 inches shorter than a Honda CR-V, so not a massive size difference. As far as design touches, we do not have roof rails on this example. However, what we do have is all of your safety features as standard equipment on all HR-Vs. That's a very nice standard feature to see in this segment of vehicles, so that even includes things like adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist. But let's go ahead and dive into the interior. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's go ahead and move on to the inside. First, here's our key fob, typical Honda key fob. You do have the smart entry system as well as remote start built into the fob for the Sport trim level and the EXL trim level. To get inside, just grab behind the handle. That will unlock the door. And then we can take a look inside the interior. Again, this is the Sport trim, so this is the middle trim level, the one that most people choose. And let's talk about what you're gonna get, especially in terms of material and color choices. So taking a look at our seats, you can see that these are cloth seats. The LX trim is also going to come with cloth seats, but on the Sport you can only get this black with the special orange stitching. On the LX you can choose gray additionally, and the EXL is where you're going to get the option of leather. Now in terms of the seat adjustments, that's also where you're going to get power adjustment. You've got to choose the EXL if you want that, otherwise you're going to get this manual seat. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And climbing inside here, you get a little animation on the gauge cluster. Let's talk about the rest of the cabin materials though. This is always something I've been very impressed with this new generation. You have some really high quality cabin materials, including over here on our door trim. Sport still gets the leatherette with the color contrast stitching. We have a hard touch in the center and then a soft touch plastic along the top. All of the upper dash is finished in a soft touch plastic, except for this section, which actually covered in a leatherette material. And then surprisingly, even down here along our console, this is completely covered again in a stitched leatherette. This is actually an area that is not covered in leatherette on the CR-V. So in this regard, if you bump your knee into the console pretty often, this is the better option than the CR-V. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. All right, let's dive into some individual features. We'll begin with the gauge cluster. This setup is going to be the same as most CR-Vs as well. So you have the 7-inch display on the left-hand side. This is actually reconfigurable, so you can switch between different designs. Then on the other side, that's an analog setup. That part does not change, so that's always your speedometer. Now you, of course, don't have a head-up display or anything like that. And as we pull back to the steering wheel, nice leather wrap steering wheel on the Sport trim level, as well as the EXL, manual tilt and telescoping as well. Now let's take a look at the center storage here, because this obviously is a kind of interesting shape. When we open up our console here, we're going to see that we have some donuts inside. That's because we like to do the car confections donut test. We want to see how many donuts fit in and what the volume is. Well, the answer on this is 12. And that's actually very good for a subcompact. I'm quite impressed by that. You'll notice it looks like it's stuck out, but actually this carves out the lid, so this fits just like a glove. Fantastic. We also have this pass-through storage cubby right through there. Over here you got your 2 cup holders, then you have another large storage bin in the front. This would be a wireless phone charging pad if you got the top end EXL. Coming back to the shifter, this is a traditional style shifter, just pull back for drive. No paddle shifters on the steering wheel. When in reverse, here's what our regular backup camera is going to look like. We do have active trajectory on board. We also have 3 different views that we can switch between. And then back behind that is your electronic parking brake with brake hold, as well as our different drive mode controllers. Now, as we carry on from there, let's take a look at our climate controls. So you'll notice that we have a single zone automatic climate setup. This is what you're going to get on LX and Sport trims, but if you want dual zone, you can get that. Just you're going to have to choose the EXL trim level. This is also the point where you're going to add heated seats to the list of standard features. Now, other physical controls we have up here are related to our audio system. We'll go ahead and give this a sample of our standard 6-speaker sound system. Overall, sound quality is actually pretty good. You know, when you have a vehicle in this class, they're typically not that good in terms of the overall sound quality, but this really fills up the cabin nicely, and it did have a decent punch when I turned it up. Okay, let's take a look here at our infotainment system and our display. So you'll notice this looks a little small. That's because this is the 7-inch touchscreen. This is what's going to come on the LX and the Sport trim levels. You'll get a 9-inch display on just the EXL trim level. Now, as you can see, just the center section here is the screen, but also the software itself is going to be different than the other Honda products that we typically show off. It's kind of a dumbed down version that's really very basic, so you can just kind of scroll through some basic menu things, and then all of the extra functions you have, those are going to have to be controlled with these hard buttons down here at the bottom. Now, it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It requires a wired connection though, unless you get the 9-inch display on the EXL. Up top, we have a manual dimming mirror. And then as you can see at the roof, we don't have any sunroof, but you can get one, again, on the EXL trim level.
And let's dive into the rear seat area for this HRV. Now, in terms of the overall space, you will be pretty pleasantly surprised. It's not that much worse than a CR-V, for instance. We're sitting at about 37.7 inches of legroom, about 38 inches of headroom, which those figures for this segment are very, very good. It's going to beat most of the main rivals. One of the things we do in all of our Car Confections reviews is get our knee measure. So this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and we are sitting at a very solid 8 inches of additional knee room. My feet can slide up underneath of the seat, and I do want to point out that these rear seats do not recline. That's particularly worth noting if you're cross-shopping with the CR-V, because the CR-V has like 7 or 8 different modes of recline, so this is going to be your only seating configuration in this model. As far as other features, we are missing out on vents, and we also do not have USB ports, although there are spots where they would be if you got a higher end model. Additionally, we are missing out on a center armrest. So overall, it's going to be pretty basic back here. We do have some LED lighting in the roof, which is pretty nice. Let's check out the door trim. The door trim also going to be on the basic side. Hard touch on all the upper and in the middle part. However, we do have a padded armrest, and as far as bottle storage, it's a decent sized bottle holder because it does fit the Stanley water bottle. That's important because we don't have a center armrest with cup holders, so this is going to be the only spot you can put your water bottle. Now, walking up to the tailgate, we do have a manually opening tailgate here for the Sport model. And then as far as the space is concerned, we're going to be sitting at a pretty good amount of it. So about 24 cubic feet behind the second row seats. As a maximum, we are sitting at about 55 cubic feet of space. Now, those are good figures for this segment of vehicle. As you can see, I can just really quickly reach up and fold these seats down. They do fold 60-40 split, by the way. That gives you your maximum 55 cubic feet. Do be aware, though, that the CR-V is going to have quite a bit more space. It's going to be sitting in the 70 cubic foot range, so about 15 to 20 cubic feet more space. Now, speaking of space, let's see the overall cargo dimensions. From behind Drew's seating position to the rear of the cargo area, we are sitting at 71 inches of length. From behind the second row of seats to the rear, we're sitting at about 36 inches. See how wide the opening is? About 41 inches wide. And as far as overall cargo height, 28 inches. Now, other features. Let's lift up the cargo floor. Under here you will find a little bit of additional space, and you will also find a spare tire integrated underneath the floor. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Honda HR-V. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. But first off, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
So there's acceleration with the 2025 Honda HR-V. Obviously we have this red light coming up here, and we were going uphill. But I think it demonstrates, its acceleration capability. It's not fast. This we already know. Nothing in this class is going to be fast. You're going to be looking at a 0 to 60, depending on your environment, in the 9-ish seconds range would be what we've experienced in the past. So just something to keep in mind if you're power hungry, especially since we've been talking a lot about CR-V and some comparisons to that. CR-V is going to feel quite a lot faster with either of its two powertrains.
Yeah, so a quick recap on what you're going to get under the hood. This is a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. So like Drew said, not going to be, you know, enough power to knock your socks off or anything like that, but really nothing in this segment is powerful, so keep that in mind. The one thing that I do want to talk about briefly is that the Civic Hybrid just came out. You may have seen some content on our channel about that. No HRV hybrid yet. I really think that would be a massive improvement for this vehicle if they did offer the hybrid system on this. Not only would it make it a lot faster, it also give you better fuel economy, but Honda has not confirmed anything officially yet, so hopefully they're listening and will add the hybrid system.
Now, when you just accelerate at a normal pace like the rest of traffic, it has a good feel off the line overall. And let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, which is the continuously variable transmission. This is also a pretty responsive transmission. I think they've done a good job of tuning it so that it works with the engine pretty well. You can step on the gas and get the extra power pretty quickly.
Now it is going to be routed to the ground via the front wheels or optional all-wheel drive, and that is on every single trim level, so I like that they're giving you that availability. When it comes to fuel economy for this vehicle, like I said, there is no hybrid variation, so your fuel economies are going to be pretty simple. It's 26, 32, 28, and then if you choose the all-wheel drive, that's 27 miles per gallon combined. Now that's one of the areas I do want to discuss here is that fuel economy rating is quite a bit lower than most of the rivals in its traditional gas setup, and a lot of the rivals do also have hybrids, so you're definitely going to be paying a lot more at the pump, and honestly it's not any better fuel economy than what you would find in a Honda CR-V, and it's worse fuel economy than what you'd find in a CR-V hybrid. Alrighty, and let's also discuss ride quality for this Honda HR-V. Now that we're just kind of cruising along the highway here, I think it's a good time to talk about it. Overall ride quality is pretty good, as you would expect out of, you know, a family-oriented crossover like this. It does a decent job of soaking up the bumps. It's not going to be as comfortable as a CR-V. The CR-V definitely takes it up another level, but overall ride quality I think most owners will be satisfied with. Do keep in mind that the Sport will give you the largest wheels, so if you want the most luxurious experience, choose the EXL version. That gets the smaller wheels, and also it's going to get more comfortable seats. These cloth seats are going to be a little bit more on the firm side for sure.
As far as how this handles, it kind of feels like you know, a little bit taller of a Honda Civic. It's got a pretty agile feel to it overall. I also really like the steering. It definitely feels, you know, typical Honda. It's got a good responsiveness to it. Still light, but it's easy to place because you have a good sense of where the wheels are.
Alrighty, and let's do our car convection slam dunk and airball. Favorite and least favorite element about the Honda HR-V. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
Slam dunk's gotta be space. Just like most Honda products, this is a very spacious offering for the segment, and really just gives you a lot of places to stick everything that you're bringing along.
Yeah, the storage up here in the front I think is really impressive for this segment. Now, on the airball side of things, we are going to say that is the price for this model. It's definitely creeped up a lot since this new generation came out. You know, since 2023 it was when that came out. The 24 model year it went up, and then 25 it went up again. So because of all those price increases, it's actually closer to the CR-V than you would expect. So definitely cross shop between the two and see which one is going to be the better fit for you and your family. But you know, we're going around 55 miles per hour, so I think it would be a great time for us to get our sound level reading. We'll go ahead and put it on fan speed 1. 57 decibels is what we're sitting at as our sound level reading, going 55 here in Kentucky. That's a pretty decent sound level reading. for this segment of vehicle. Typically this vehicle actually tests a little bit higher, so today it seems to be a little quieter in this cabin, whether that just be because there's not as much wind outside or whatnot, but we don't have to sit here and guess because we can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and we posted all of our cars that we review on this channel, which certainly is a lot, and we can compare and see how it falls. And that does fall as a pretty good sound level reading for the segment. It's going to be in the upper half of quietest vehicles in this segment. Now, as far as last things worth mentioning, for 2025, there has been a change when it comes to your overall warranty. You have the same signature 3-year 36,000 mile basic and 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty that all Hondas have. However, all Hondas this year have reduced the complimentary maintenance down to 1 year instead of 2 years, which it was last model year. So keep that in mind. Honda has reduced that complimentary maintenance down. And let's talk pricing. This is probably the part that you've been waiting on in this review. For 2025, do be aware the HRV has went up in price around $1,000, so that's a pretty significant amount for a vehicle that cost this amount of money. It is still going to cost less than the CRV though, so we're starting at $25,100 for the LX, $27,200 for the Sport model. EXL is about $29,000. Now, as far as this model with all-wheel drive, we're sitting at $28,700 for this 25 HRV Sport, plus $1,350 destination, and the paint color, we're sitting at $30,505. Now, if you're looking to buy a Honda HRV or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And now let's talk about potential resale value and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, let's talk about resale value. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Honda HRV's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 64.8% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years, 34.3%. Now, it's actually worth noting that is the very best automotive resale value in 5-year and 60,000 mile metrics. It's even better than stuff like Toyota, so that's very, very impressive.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that is more useful. In this regard, Honda is the third best brand and obviously well above average for overall reliability against all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability and resale value information, be sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off in this in-depth review of the 2025 Honda HRV. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we surely hope you did, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun on this channel, and we make a lot of car reviews that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.